Sunderland have been one of the must-follow teams this summer's transfer window, and now as we look down the barrel of match day 1 of the Premier League, the number one question is, are Sunderland ready? Since the last time we looked at Sunderland here on the channel, they've had a couple of friendlies and made a few more signings, which really now when we look at the squad, the overall makeup going into the first match of the season, Sunderland have got so many different weapons at their disposal now, and with an exciting kind of interesting manager in Reggie Labrie, this could be a really fun season to follow Sunderland. In the video today we'll kind of update, see where they're at coming into the first match, as well as start to look at what their prospects could be for the upcoming Premier League season. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And Sunderland fans, as always, feel free to jump into the comment section. We've had some great insights and contributions from the Mackhams already that have been tuning into the content here on the channel. I'm very thankful and grateful for all the insights you guys drop into the comment section. It's very much appreciated. And again, feel free to get me up to speed, because let's just get stuck straight into it. But as we do just get stuck straight into it, the first two friendlies that they've had, I've obviously not watched the games myself, I'm kind of looking at them from arm's length at this moment. The managers went kind of old school and had two matches in really quick succession, kept the same bench of fringe youth kind of players, guys that aren't on the depth chart that we've got here on the channel, but totally alternate the starting 11 and have two different tactics and really flesh out the full body of the squad. So if we look at the first game here against Augsburg, the managers went with a 4-3-3 shape, and a lot of you guys have been saying, Quinny, this guy Reinaldo is going to play left back, get over it. And that's where he started in this one, so fair play. And Trey Hume at right back, Ballard and Silt filling in at centre back, with new signing in goals Robin Roefs. Looks like a really solid back four, and the midfield three of Diarra, Xhaka and Siddiqui looks pretty powerful and pretty formidable as a lineup there. And then that front three is pace and invention, which looks again like a nice kind of blend I've got all across the team here. And here in the 3-0 loss to Rayo Vallecano, it's been a 3 at the back, with Triantis of all people kind of dropping in, Patterson, who was the goalkeeper from last year, Paddy Robertson, Isidore up front, and then guys like Lafee, Neil, Brown, Rigg, guys that were maybe already playing a bit of a part in the squad, which is great to see. Because when a club is making the amount of transfers that Sunderland are and really building this huge big squad, you want to see them maintain some of their character, some of their personality that got them into the Premier League in the first place, to kind of complement the additions, the improvements, the reinforcements that they've been bringing in. And since we were on last, they have went out and signed a player again I'm very familiar with, Omar Alderete. They've also brought in Robin Roefs, who we mentioned there in the friendlies, but we've also now got Arthur Masuaku coming in as a left back. We've got Mark Guéhi coming in on loan from Chelsea, and I think these moves, Masuaku and Guéhi in particular, really open up a bit of a coming together of what we've just seen in those friendlies. When we've been looking at the team previously, it's been really hard from certainly from arm's length, to kind of look at this squad and see what is the strategy here, what is the tactics of the manager, the transfer department, what are they trying to achieve, how are they trying to mould this squad to be ready for the Premier League. And it was great to see Triantis still in the building, because I think he did very well in Scotland and has a lot of good, core attributes, has the minerals to be a really good player in the Premier League if he's able to make the step up, which is always the biggest question in football. So it's nice to see that he's still keeping in amongst it, just from that kind of side perspective. You guys in the chat have been telling me to ditch off Helde, and I think now with the addition of Alderete coming into the team and Reinaldo being seen to be playing already in at left back, I think we can do that now and just move Sirkin or Cherkin or whatever his name is into the backup. Somebody made fun of my pronunciation of that guy before, so that's why I'm just a wee bit mindful of it just now. But Alderete coming in here along with Roefs, Masuaku and Guéhi means that now, like it was when you were looking at that last shape, we had Enzo Lafee displayed, and again I didn't watch the match, so it might not have been where he was actually played, and we did see Lafee play left mid of like a 4-4-2 and a few different shapes for Sunderland in the Championship, so he and the manager are comfortable with playing him in different sides of the midfield, even though it might not on paper look like the sort of position he should or could be playing. So I'm not ruling out that could still be a way that you get him into the team. But I think the midfield three of Siddiqui, Diarra and Xhaka has been, like we've mentioned before on the channel, if you could build an ideal midfield three from around the continent on the sort of budget Sunderland have, you can't really go too far wrong with these types of guys. Fending off the interest of Wolfsburg to get Trey Hume to sign a new contract looks to be a massive W as well, because Alderete and Reinaldo are very, very familiar in playing in back threes, which we've seen as the formation from the second match. Now, it was the second string kind of defence of Huggins, Triantis and Lavery, which, I don't think we're going to expect to see those guys play week in, week out. But if you were going to play this in the Premier League, certainly, Rayo Vallecano are definitely a really good opponent to try that out with, but certainly not the same level of the majority of teams that Sunderland are going to be up against. The Masuaku and Hume offer great versatility to play right back or right wing back and left back, left wing back. Depending on the shape and the style that the manager wants to go with. And even at that, playing in a 4 at the back is going to be no problem at all. Because one thing that I'll tell you about Alderete is him and Reinaldo are totally cut from the same cloth. These guys are bruisers. They are old school hatchet defenders in the best way possible. And, Alderete is coming out of a Getafe team where I've watched far too much Getafe for, no one should put themselves through this, but Getafe, if they could play 10 defenders, 11 defenders, they would, and they just defend for their life, and it is, if you think Atletico Madrid is like anti-football or negative football or anything, you have seen nothing, and this guy has been one of the, I don't want to say shining lights or whatever, because it's not really that type of football, but make no mistake about it, it does not matter who this guy is going to be up against. He's got a lot of experience against some top forwards already, of course playing against Barca, Real and a handful of others that have went through the doors of La Liga while he's been there at Getafe previously. An international player as well with Paraguay, I think it is, or whatever. But for, let's just say the kind of semi-worst case scenario that Sunderland are towards the bottom end of the division and every point is a prisoner, guys that defend like Alderete and Reinaldo are the exact type of defenders you want in and around your box. Guys that will put their body on the line, that know the right time to take the tempo out of the game, to take the sting out of the match, don't mind taking the booking at the right time, and are great defenders. And I think if you were going to try and build a 3 at the back out of guys on Sunderland's type of budget out of La Liga, probably the best back 3 you would build would include Reinaldo and Alderete, again within the context of it being like Sunderland targets and the budget that we're looking at for these players. And I say the versatility is fantastic, especially if Reinaldo and the manager is comfortable with him in that left back position and the sort of midfield that kind of follows around that. But Mark Guéhi really does strike me, because we've seen Isidore start a game, we've seen Mayenda start a game, same with Adringa and Wee Paddy, Talby, Rigg, Brown, everyone got a shot. I don't think I've seen Mundell actually. I don't know if he's injured or whatever. But yeah, basically everyone did get minutes, did get a spot in the squad. And make no mistake about it, Sunderland are going to be a team, and I think every team in the Premier League won't be too far off this, but 4 or 5 subs is going to be a staple diet. It's going to be on the menu all season long. And Mark Guéhi feels like he could be one of these type of, and again, just to use Atletico Madrid because they're kind of in the back of my head now, I guess, at this point. Kind of what we've seen with Alexander Sorloth for them last year. And I don't know if you've seen his goals per minute ratio for them last year, but it was off the charts. And, the way that the versatility that Sunderland have, the amount of quality that they do have across the team, depending on what front 3 actually starts, how the shape is, 3 at the back, 4 at the back, whatever. This is a guy that can come on. We've seen even Wolves try it a little bit with Jorgen Strand Larsen before he became like a starter for them. But a guy that can come off the bench, a big bruiser of a guy that can get in amongst defenders, and at the sharp end of a match when games and points are won and decided, can just get their head on the end of something, or can initiate a little bit of build-up play that can get someone else in. Because again, a guy from the Barcelona academy, he's pretty decent with his feet, isn't he? So I like that move a lot. And I say Masuaku, I've kind of skimmed over with the whole Reinaldo Alderete thing, but again, coming in, this guy's got a pretty good pedigree himself, and the ability he's got to play left back even, we could even see, and you guys all rate Ballard really highly, but we could see maybe even Reinaldo or Alderete become a back 2 in the back 4 with Masuaku coming in here at left back. So there's lots of options, and it's really good quality, really good calibre Sunderland have now in all positions. Even Robin Roefs, who is, he's not quite on that Bart Verbruggen, if I can spit that out, level that we see the Brighton goalkeeper in terms of how he's seen in Holland and his career trajectory to this point. But this is a guy, make no mistake about it, is a pretty good goalkeeper and is pretty decent with the ball at his feet as well. So I think Robin Roefs could be one of these goalkeepers in years gone by that you see kind of come out of nowhere but make a name for themselves really quickly. And with this sort of defence and the strength and depth that they've got, and strength of defensive, strength, I can't say the word strength enough, I'm sorry. Sunderland are going to be really hard to break down, and they should be really hard to score against, which is the first step really for any team that is going to stay in the division. And with, Mayenda, I'm pretty sure I've seen him signing a new contract, Adringa, all these, Adingra, sorry. Sunderland have just got so many things going in their favour this season that I can, every time we've looked at them, I think, yeah man, there's so much going on here that it could work out pretty well. There's a nice blend of new players that are coming in that, they're of a high enough calibre, they've been around the block once or twice, so I feel the jeopardy you get on signing lots of players and really changing your team when you come from Championship to Premier League is maybe mitigated a little bit. Shaq has obviously played in the league already. Adingra has obviously played in the league already. Gui has been in the building or been in the league again for a little while also. So, I really do like how the team is sitting here and ahead of match day 1 at home to West Ham, who, when do West Ham ever really feel good about themselves, I guess, so at home at the Stadium of Light, I think that, this could be a really good weekend for Sunderland fans, back in the Premier League, spending 150 million euros, a new look, revamped team with a lot of ambition. It feels like a Sunderland win, doesn't it? Now, I guess I wasn't really going to turn this into a match preview, but the whole premise, the whole thing we want to really think about in the video today is, are Sunderland ready for the beginning of the Premier League? And really, I think there's not really too much to suggest or not. Yes, those pre-season results weren't perfect or whatever, but I do certainly feel that, the composition of the squad, the experience they've got, and even, the little combinations of formations and innovation that we've seen from the manager in those pre-season games for what they're worth. There's a lot of meat on the bone here. I think Sunderland pretty much are ready to go and really should see themselves, not in that worst case scenario, but maybe see themselves a bit more comfortably looking towards mid-table, and who knows, maybe even something better if they could really hit the ground running, because the opening sequence of fixtures are not that scary for Sunderland, I look forward to picking back up with this next week as we see, how did Sunderland and West Ham shake out. I personally, maybe I'm a wee bit biased because, we've been covering Sunderland here on the channel and, we've been looking at them under the microscope a little bit more, but I fancy Sunderland to get the win, Stadium of Light, back in the Premier League, 3 o'clock on a Saturday, hopefully the sun is shining and the goals are flying as well. If you're going to the game, I hope you have a good time, stay out of trouble, have a good weekend. If you did enjoy the video, please do subscribe for more, hit the like button, jump into the comment section, leave a score prediction if you fancy it as well. On screen now is some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care, bye bye.